Hi, everybody. Welcome to my Sunday Live. We will wait and see who is popping in out there. My interview this week got canceled or postponed, so I thought I would pop on and see what was going on. If anyone had any questions. It's not 5 yet. Hi, Inspiring Oro. Hello. All right, I see some others popping in. I thought I would do it in the same space. I've done my other podcasts. I was tempted to go inside, but this feels about right. So, anyone have any questions? This is a just ask me anything healing. Anything healing. I get questions all the time. Yeah, it's right at 5. All right. I know one of my board members a few years back, I was talking to her and I said, I don't know if I have anything else to say about healing. And that was 2 years ago. So it just always seems like there's something that pops in or someone I meet and we decide to jump on an interview or a podcast. So, it's such a broad topic. Oh, okay. Tammy's asking, what is my favorite book? Gosh, I've been reading a lot lately, but I think Seed of the Soul. I read back in 2015, which is a great kind of spiritual opener. Something I needed at that time. But that's probably one of my favorites. I know I'm looking at my bookshelf over there. I got a ton of things like herbal books, astrology books. It's a wide variety over there for sure. And I know one of my staff members was going to be on today too. She said she had a few questions for me. Yeah. Thoughts on sound healing. I feel it's very helpful and calming. Yeah, I mean, that is a part of healing I'm hearing so much more about or seeing on, oh, hi, Loretta, seeing on social media a lot more. But definitely, I think sound is so powerful. A few years back, I created a Spotify playlist, the HC healing tones, and there are different frequencies. And I play it so much. So whenever I get anxious, I play that playlist and it just totally calms me down. So yeah, I think any kind of sound healing, any kind of music that makes you feel good, that resonates. I'm generally always playing music if I'm not, deep into work or talking on the phone or something. So I've always got something going. But yeah, I mean, I know I've seen like even locally here in Hampton Roads, there are so many more pop-ups of sound baths with sound bowls, which is so cool to see. I think there's a place closer to Richmond that does scalar waves. So that was something I did not know too much about until a few years ago. Also in the news, there is, I want to say, I don't want to mispronounce the study, but there was a study going on with liver cancer with ultrasound. So again, using frequencies to heal, and they're having a lot of response with liver cancer and using different kinds of ultrasound. So yeah, so much going on. So Loretto, do you have a question? I know we were talking on the porch this week when you dropped me some stuff off, but we were in an interesting dialogue about healing and how I was kind of navigating, and you asked me if I had always navigated this way, and I said yes, and you were giggling because I can go on a rant sometimes, and you thought that was kind of spicy and funny. So yeah. Oh, Michelle's here. She's on a plane. Thank you for popping in. Well, last week we talked about, Michelle was on with me, and we talked about dating, and we were going to set up a profile, and I wrote something and sent her pictures, but we have not quite gotten that complete yet. So more to come. Stay tuned. She's working on it. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I decided that I'm kind of busy right now, and they were going to manage it for me, the dating profile. So we will see. We'll see where that goes. Oh, she said, but she found a first date. Yeah. But I think the person's in Florida. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Oh gosh. Okay. Inspiring aura. Okay. What has surprised you most about your healing journey? Wow. I think what surprised me most is that it keeps going. I get to these points where I think when I first learned Reiki, I thought, oh, great, this is kind of the answer. And that kind of integrated a bit, and you kind of feel like that's it. And then something else comes along. There's so many layers to it. And I, sometimes feel like we're here because we all have some, healing to do. So that's, I think, what has been so surprising, that it's really not complete, and that we, we're all here to help I feel like help each other heal, to get through life. So yeah. And that, I guess maybe to talk about that a little more, and how expansive healing is, and what has shown up for me is the more healing I do, the much more expansive my life becomes. So that's been really cool too. Michelle, where are you in the air? She's on her way back to probably Miami. She's between Charlotte and Miami. That's what I thought. Loretto, I know you had a couple good questions. Oh, who won bowling last night? Oh yeah, I took my nephew bowling, and we usually play two, but I won the first, he won the second, and so we did a tie, and I won. I was trying to beat or go over 100, and I got really close, but we played pretty good. It was fun. Oh, Michelle said, I think most people would love to hear how you stay positive. Well, that can get kind of challenging, but I just kind of wake up that way. Over the years, I have developed and layered, and always continues to change and evolve, but a pretty good meditation practice. So that's how I start my day. Usually it's somewhere between 10 minutes. Sometimes if I have time, I might stay in a little bit longer, but I think I just set my intention for the day. And then once you do that, it's kind of hard to get off course. So I don't know. I think I just want things to be good. I remember my ex-husband said to me one time, because we traveled so much during Ben's journey with cancer, and he said, "Wendy, how come when I travel with you, nothing goes wrong?" And I said, "That's so funny because like when I book the ticket, I think the energy you have, even when you're going on a trip, you're booking the airline ticket or you're booking the hotel or wherever we were staying. I just kind of intended it to go well. And for the most part, it did. I won't say it did all the time, but so there's something to that. Michelle said she didn't think she would. She said she doesn't think she would stay so positive. That's funny. All right. What has been a practice that has been one of the most important ones for you to do to show up for yourself, even when it's hard? Wow. I think that the different kinds of healing modalities that I have learned, I learn them and it takes a while to kind of integrate them into your life. But definitely the one I learned first was Reiki. And, I've learned others over the time. There's a cycling method. I went and did a reverendship program. So I'm always learning and adding to, but I feel like Reiki was really one of the first and the most important. And even in my meditation, there's a mantra they say, and that's kind of how I start my meditation every day. And there's something that they teach in Reiki. I remember when I was going through the second part of the class, it's very simple, like program your day. And I've said this before on other podcasts, but it was more, it was like program your day. I didn't really understand at the time, like the day's the day, but it really gave me some agency. And I thought about what she had said, you need to program your day. And so one of the things I do is I start out in the morning as part of the meditation, and I just see myself kind of, going through all the things I'm going to do throughout the day, kind of just in a really almost like a dream state, very light and, getting coffee, going to meetings, whatever. And, so I've played around and not done it. And there definitely is a difference in the day. So I do believe that sense of program your day and setting the intention has a really, really big impact. Oh, Michelle said, I think it may be a personality trait, right? Some people don't have it in them. That's really interesting. And maybe Michelle, and Michelle can chime in. Do you feel like I've always been that way? Michelle and I have known each other since high school. When you look back, what moment felt like a turning point in your recovery when you just knew you would be the outlier? Interesting. When you say recovery, I can talk about my cancer. So, for anyone who's new on the channel, I was diagnosed in 2021 with a rare stage 4 cancer. And I think, the seriousness of that settled in after the shock. I was so glad that I had learned these different healing methods and interviewed people and talked about it, because that's what I went back to. I mean, once I learned what I was going to have to do and got my ducks in a row, it was really, really layering in those healing methods that got me through the treatments. And yeah, so I think as far as like a turning point, once I got through, I did everything from chemo to radiation to surgery to ablation to immunotherapy. But I think once I got through the chemo and had very good response. But again, I think the response was largely in part to the things that I was doing outside the clinic. Raking everyone around me, raking the infusions. I just threw everything at it. I was fasting during chemo, but I think it gave me some agency during that process. And I didn't really look at it as something that was so bad. I think when people hear the word cancer, it's very scary. And I had definitely intimately been in that world for so many years with Ben that it wasn't as scary to me. Um, but I just took all this knowledge and research they had done over the years and threw everything at it. And, there were definitely days I did not feel well, but for the most part, I did. Michelle, you were with me in the beginning. I went down to Florida during that time and got a second opinion, and her family took me in, um, and I that was a very special and tender time for me. And I came back and did some treatment here, but I don't know. You tell me what you saw during that time. I mean, some of it was kind of a blur back then, but I really leaned on this kind of tool bag I had created, and yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, I remember a couple times being in the clinic, and I just let's see what she said. Oh God, what kept me grounded during that time? God, so many things. She said, "You are family. We didn't take you in." That's true. But I'm so grateful to that time that I got to spend with your beautiful family, and still do. Okay, this is a good one. What kind of support do you wish people offered but didn't know how? What do you need? What did you need and didn't get? Oh, yeah, that's great. I think it's so individual when it comes to support, especially with something like this. I think people's first reaction is to do what they would want. So for someone who loves food, and cooks a lot, they want to send food, which is so amazing. But for me, I lived in a high rise and I did not eat a lot. And then when you have, especially during chemo and your treatments, I know my eating is still not back. It may never be, but food wasn't something that I even thought about really. But I had some gracious people. Oh gosh, they sent me an online subscription for a bunch of healthy stuff, which I loved. And so that was helpful. But I think it's really important for the person who's going through a treatment to be honest with what they need. So if food isn't what you need, then I think you have to tell people what you need. Maybe you can create when I look back, I could have created an Amazon wish list of maybe some. I know I spent money on essential oils and bought myself a weighted blanket and definitely some supplements that one of the nonprofits I'm involved with, they talk about this a lot. I'm creating some different um, avenues in which people can, help you with some of the supplemental stuff that you need, blankets and all the other things that, you rely on when you're going through treatment. So yeah, I think that's really important. Okay, Tammy says, you followed what you trusted and felt was right. Alternative medicine, exercise, vitamins, all. Oh my God, I threw everything at it. You stayed your course and fought hard. So, proud of you. Thank you. I know Tammy and her family, I spent a lot of time at her house, at her pool, with my nephew and with Billy. And Tammy was always there for me, still is. But yeah, I really think when you research and I don't want to, it's funny because I've learned so much. I used to say alternative more, and alternative can mean instead of. So sometimes I say complementary or adjunct or use another word so it doesn't get confusing in the space, because I know doctors don't like to hear alternative as much. So I'm really picky and choosy with my words that I use with them, which has really been interesting. When you're in the oncology space, I learned early on not to talk too much about a lot of the things that I was doing because I got a lot of blank stares. And I thought, well, gosh, they might want to know that, this was really helpful for me, or this could help other patients. But, I found that it really wasn't the case, that a lot of times those conversations just didn't go very far. And so I kind of stopped. And even now, I mean, just recently, um, I took myself off the maintenance treatment. And, I it's funny because when I went back, I had to go back just to meet her to get the scan. It was a totally different vibe. Um, that I wasn't on treatment. They grilled me and grilled me, just looking for something to be wrong. And I finally told her to stop. I was like, I'm good. I would tell you if something's wrong. And um, so when the blood test came back at good, so it's been a year, like no circulating tumor cells. I don't know. I kind of thought back about that appointment. I mean, she didn't really ask me, what I was doing outside of clinic. I don't take any prescription drugs, so I thought that I just sometimes feel like they would be more curious about how I've healed, because my particular cancer does not have a cure. So I have shifted in my mind the words around a little bit. So there may not be a cure, but I've healed it. So I think a lot of times you can cure people, but they're unhealed, and vice versa. So I don't know. I kind of like to look at it a little differently. All right. How did you stay inspired while going through all of that and navigating difficult emotions? Whew. Yeah. I mean, it was a lot. It's a lot to, sometimes I have to really prepare myself to go into a doctor's office. There's a lot going on. There's other patients that are not feeling well. The doctors are generally looking for something to be wrong. So a lot of times, like, I will just put myself in kind of an energetic bubble, not to be penetrated. And if I feel something going on, I kind of like push the bubble out. That helps. I set the intention. The um, I want the appointment to go well. I mean, generally they do. But now I think I'm in a totally different space. But sometimes it's upsetting. Like when I left that last appointment, she not believing me that the cancer was gone or could be gone for a year. And it made me very uncomfortable. So I kind of just let it, feel what I need to feel, get mad, get angry for a minute, and I just kind of let it go. But yeah, it's not always fun. And Michelle's had to listen to me rant, and my sister as well. And most people around me don't even bring it up anymore because I've asked them not to, because I don't like to talk about it so much. Because I think, even when you're talking about it, you're giving it attention. And I really don't want to give that disease any more attention than it deserves. Um, Michelle said, "Do you think it's because of liability? They're afraid of being sued if they even believe in it." Well, I don't know the answer to that, but that's a really good question. I think that they can only do what their institution, wherever they're with, whatever hospital, institution, or practice they're with, they can only offer what that institution does. So I think they kind of just shy away from talking about it. Sometimes I think some of them have been curious. Like one of them, I was been there for what, 18 months, and I've sent them 5 articles. I mean, like cutting edge, latest stuff, and I'll send it through the portal. Hey, and I don't go on and on. I'm like, hey, see you on Tuesday. Scan look good. Would you look at this article or look at this trial? And I don't get any response at all. So I'd find it hard for them not to be curious, but there's probably a reason they can't respond to some of this stuff, which is, I don't know, it's disheartening. And I've, I definitely have a lot of information and have researched, but I think another important part of this is, it's one thing to have the information to ask them, and I listen to what they say. However, I think it's really important to listen to yourself, because they may say, "Hey, we want you to do this or that." And I really take it in, and I might do some other research. Like when I was getting chemo, I had a really hard time in the beginning. And I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat, I mean, I couldn't go to the bathroom. It was terrible. And, I built a case with my doctor, my PCP, and we went back to her and, I mean, it was terrible. And I asked her if she could reduce the dosage down 25%. So they did. And then what I learned was, I don't know if how much of that microdosing down for your weight actually happens. Sometimes I wonder if you're just getting the same dose everybody else is getting. And for me, it was just way too much. So I every time went in and just made sure they reduced it down, and they gave you a steroid in clinic that day. And I even asked them to reduce the steroid down the same percentage, 25%. So, I think you just have to be really clear and ask. That really worked for me. I can't imagine if I would have stayed on that full dosage for those 9 rounds. Yeah, it was just too much. But don't anybody out there, or if you're caregivers for other people, speak up. And I sometimes I just don't make a decision right away. I mean, I sit with it for a while, and I just do what feels right to me. Like going off this maintenance treatment 9 months early felt right for me. I just felt like I was done. I didn't want to do it anymore. And I'm just so glad. So glad. So, and you can say no. I think some people don't think they can opt out or decline or do it a different way. I mean, I'm definitely a person to break protocol. I but I do it in a way that feels right to me. So, I just don't ask questions. I mean, because I think things are changing so quickly, even in the cancer space. I don't even know if the doctors can keep up with all that's going on. So just don't be afraid to ask. Another question. How important was it for you to create your own personal healing team? Oh, that's a great question. It was one of the first things I did. Um, with Ben, we didn't do this as much. With children, it's really interesting. You When he was first diagnosed, I definitely wanted to do all of this, pull in a team, and they very quickly told me, like, Wendy, if you don't agree and do the treatment, they will take you to court, CPS, and you will be charged for neglect, and you could possibly lose your child. And so that, really at that time scared me. We definitely did some stuff and maybe weren't honest about all the things, some of the things that I was doing. We didn't tell the doctors, but um this time I said no. I knew that I would do what they wanted me to do, but I knew as important I was gonna do what the West said, but I was also gonna meet it with the East. East meets West. And, I very quickly called some people that I knew. I was referred to an herbalist who I just can't even say enough things about. He is in Atlanta, specializes in oncology, and I mean, I still meet with him. I was asking him about my workout routine last time I talked, and I said, "Hey, I do this amount of reps." And he said, "No, I'd rather you do lower reps, higher weight." I mean, he's just so amazing and full of information. And, I wish he could be my doctor because I really trust his opinion. So he was great. Definitely my PCP was or is a osteopath. So we played around with tuning forks and had definitely done energy work in the past. So that was really important. I had a nutritionist that came on board and helped me. I mean, really taught me what fasting was, especially for chemotherapy, not so much for radiation and immunotherapy, and it was such an amazing concept. And I think really took my side effects of chemo down to nothing. So that was really cool. But I think, having a team of people, not just relying on a doctor or an oncologist that you're only going to see sporadically and doesn't really have the time. And what's really fascinating is it because this team will be there with you when you have the side effects and the after effects. Because I mean, I can speak to this with Ben and myself, that when you are under treatment and you have a symptom or a side effect, you're on your own, basically. I mean, they may offer some prescription drugs that, you know, in my experience, will either not help or cause some other problems. So, having this team of people to call, especially with the blood work and supplements and so many things, it was really empowering. I never felt lost in it all. So, a lot of the work that we do at the Benjamin Goldberg Foundation is really to build resources and help people and to educate the medical community, and the caregivers about some of these other ways that we can support people on their healing journey. So I hope that answered your question. But yeah, it was almost everything to have a team around me. And yeah. I'm gonna see if there's anything else coming in. I know I said I'd go for like 30 minutes today. But yeah, so chime in a little bit. Do you guys think this is helpful? Maybe I could do a topic next week. We have definitely explored the area of caregivers. The foundation did a 4-part series. They are actually on this YouTube and also the Benjamin Goldberg Foundation YouTube. We did a 4-part. It's amazing. So if you are a caregiver of someone on a journey, those are really helpful. And we're talking about, we've kind of explored what could we really do in this healing space a little bit more with some healing circles. So maybe we haven't officially titled them, but maybe they're called Ben's Healing Circles, where we can get some practitioners, some of the folks similar to the team that I have pulled in to just, have a space, it'd be virtually a little more intimate to really kind of have these deeper conversations around healing. The idea of topics is nice. Okay, great. I know. Today was kind of like figure it out, see if the camera was going to work. I know last week on the live, the comments did not work. So I'm working out all those kinks. It's just me generally. Yeah, Michelle says, meaning that Ben had a large team around him. Yes, he did. Oh, Michelle, dating. Okay, yes. Dating was not kind of on my radar for a long time, but now it took a long time for me to get the foundation set up, and definitely with my my illness, that was not something I wanted to do too much of, but things are looking good now. Oh, what happens after you heal? Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I know. I mean, I said something to my oncologist and I said, why aren't they studying the people that have healed? Like, I think that's more interesting to me than, testing stuff that may or may not work, but she didn't really have anything to say. But what I think what that says to me is the people that have healed, they're not on these platforms. They're not looking for information. They have healed and they've gone back to their lives and they're happy. And they're just out at concerts and traveling and doing all those fun things. So yeah, so more of that in my life too. Yeah. But I thought it's just really important to keep these conversations going because I just hear more and more cancer all the time. And I just don't want people to have to go through things that unnecessarily, there's another way to do it. I mean, we were definitely the outliers with Ben. I and I can't really explain it. I mean, we just kind of did it our way, didn't make a big deal about it. So I think there's something about that too. Here it is. Okay, very quickly, let's just go, right? So I kind of did the same thing. Okay, has it changed your appreciation for life and living life? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I think after Ben passed, my light was really dim, as it should have been. And so, looking back, I think my diagnosis kind of forced me to have to like recreate a life again, a different life. So yeah, it does feel much lighter. Are you in the you era? What does that mean? What are you in the you era? Okay, that's a good topic. Moving on with life after. I know, because it's a little tricky, because there is a part of you that is just different. I mean, I can do anything I want to do. I mean, sometimes I probably exercise too much. There's nothing I can't do, but yeah, I try to and I'm cautious with the things I do. Um, just because of. So yeah, so I definitely have a little different tolerance, if you will. Tammy said, "Love that for you. Doing you and living life for and not for anyone else." Yeah. 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 Yeah, I probably need to do more of that. I know. I'm always doing something for other people, but yeah. I know I squeeze in all my stuff too. Someone said I should write a book about some of this. I wrote it was in 2023 when I was going through all this. I wrote something called The Healing Guide, and I told it over the podcast, but I might revisit that because there's so much good information. And when I went back to it, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much in there because I'm taking an essay class right now. And I wanted something, I didn't want to write too much about the past. I wanted to write about something new. So I kind of took some of it out and reshaped it up. So I'm going to share that with my a kind of a distilled version of the journey, and how I see healing. So I'll let you guys know if they liked it. Oh, maybe moving to Florida. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Tammy said, please do. Always thought you needed to write a book. Ben did too. Wink. Ha ha. Actually, I've probably shared this a million times, but I wrote a book about Ben's journey, and over the past 10 years, kind of picked it up and put it down. But I shared some of it with a group of writers, and I got really good feedback for some of it. So I am working on that professionally with someone now. And it is not going to be like a memoir-ish. It'll be more of like a collection of essays and chapters that more themed. And so it's been a really, really cool process. So that's got to go out first. I have to get that out of the way. But I would love to tell what I really want the foundation to do, because I feel like people know my story, they know Ben's story. I'd really love to interview some other people, because it's definitely have my perspective is great, but there's other people out there doing some amazing things too. So yes. So anyway, lots to come, you guys. It is, oh gosh, I was only going to go on for 30 minutes and it is 39 minutes. But if you were watching this on the replay, please ask more questions. Oh, sounds exciting. Yay. I'll keep you posted for sure. But yeah, we'll think of a theme to do another one. If anyone wants to pop on with me, send me a note. But if you're watching the replay, ask questions, because I will definitely go through those again. And that's great content for next time. So stay tuned and see you guys next Sunday.